total, like from start till now, how
It's
long?
like almost 7 years now.
7 years.
Happy accidents. People, they accept that the music they hear
Yeah.
is supposed to be there.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Composers React. We are here with Matthijs Dierckx. Matthijs Dierckx is a multi-talented storyteller, and I'm actually very curious because we're gonna dive into a project that you worked quite some time on. I'm very curious if when you were younger, if you imagined yourself ending up in the game industry, a music industry, writer. Did you imagine that?
No, I always dreamed about it. I never imagined it actually working out.
Because you did some really awesome stuff, from writing a book, we have it here, which is awesome. And also there's I'm not even sure if I can say it, there's gonna be a book, a VO book from it.
Yes,
So,
an audiobook.
Audiobook. So that's awesome, and that's coming into the near future.
Yes.
But you also do a lot of music, and for specifically, and I'm kind of already saying what we're gonna do. You worked on the game Unexplored 2.
Yes.
And this is a game that's it's a long time development.
Yes.
It's also procedural generated, so for its sound and music, this is insane. You did won a Dutch Game Award for it.
Yes, I did. And I was very, very pleased with it. I was very honored.
I understand. Yeah. This is really such an awesome visually and musically smashed together awesome piece. Like every time I see it and I see stuff from it, I'm like, wow, this is so polished. But if you know the development, it didn't came there.
It started off as a project for 18 months. We released after 60. And it's actually still being worked on to this day.
That is so. In total, like from start till now, how
it's
long?
Like almost 7 years now.
7 years.
6.5, 7 years.
It is awesome. It is. It's something that I really wanted to react with you on. Of course, you know it, and I know it. But it's something I want to go a little bit deeper into, kind of what's behind the curtain on this one, on music, the stuff that is like the painful truths behind a production like this, but also kind of what you liked and what you try to convey within this game. So we just dive into the trailer and see what we think. Unexplored 2. Love that. The style is unique. In a good way. Like that. Show some gameplay. It's gorgeous.
It is.
So melodramatic in the music. Some feel-good resolution here. It feels very sweet, with like this a little bit of emotionally load behind it. And I'm very curious because you of course wrote the music for this. If you write for something like this, it's of course this fantasy world, but do you write maybe with a specific person in mind, or maybe a specific time in your life when you say, I think this would be a right fit to evoke this world, or kind of like provoke even this world a little bit with music?
It's not as much a time or a person. Maybe it's myself watching, for instance, especially for Unexplored 2, a Ghibli movie. So, you know, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, those kinds of movies, mostly composed by Joe Hisaishi, also a Japanese, obviously, a composer. Those worlds were magical and dangerous at the same time. And the music is sort of almost sweet, romantically, but that combination evoked such a feeling in me,
I like that.
which I thought was very appropriate for the whole Unexplored 2 project. And specifically with this trailer, but also with other trailers, we had issues conveying what the game was all about. It's about like discovery, exploration, solving puzzles, not so much about combat. But combat works in a trailer. So we show combat, and the music, the music in this specific trailer, I wrote to sort of, as a sort of a counterpoint. You see the combat, but
That's interesting.
You hear and thereby feel the other parts of the game. So I don't know if it works, but it may be a sort of a mixed message. But I really wanted to have the some bits work. Like where you walk in the moonlight with the flowers. That's basically the main meat of the game and the feeling that we want to convey, much more than the combat. But like the publisher wanted a lot of combat, and it communicates well. So
that's interesting. That's the exact same reason why I asked the question if you wrote it for somebody. There is a little bit indeed of a disconnect in these things, although I like it because it's very truthful, I believe, in what you're exactly explaining. Is you have that and you want to kind of like show your best guns in a game, and you want to show a little bit of the action because that's what people want to see. And if it's too atmospheric or and we have it with our own games as well, where you could potentially make a kind of National Geographic, we just show you great environments, but that's also not really going to convey what we have created.
Yeah.
This mix is very interesting, where you kind of tell two stories. You show something, but then music-wise, you kind of want to tell a little bit of a different story within that world.
Yeah, and also that the actions you want to take as a player fit in this, like this grand magical adventure instead of, like this epic bashing of all the creatures you come across.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this was quite early, actually, still in development, and the game director at the beginning, he really hated my music.
What did you do with that?
Well, I used to work in like really small teams, and people, like I actually never got any negative feedback before. So this was new to me. As a journalist, I was used to getting my articles trashed in the beginning. Yeah. But first of all, I felt that it was more hurtful than getting critiqued on other disciplines like writing. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Maybe because music is more personal. But it took like 4 or 5 months, and then we started sort of growing towards each other. And in the end, he became my biggest fan. And I really think that his initial, dismissal of my music made it better in the end. Because I felt like I need to do something that lives up to this amazing visual style that he had created.
So it's challenging each other a little bit.
Yeah.
So you challenged him, he challenged you, and eventually you came to this utopia where you're both like in love with that creation.
Yeah, and the fun thing is that the reason he hated the first pieces I wrote was that I was trying to please others. We had the game director who really wanted synthesizers. We had somebody else who wanted to sound like that. And at one point, I was kind of stuck. It's like, forget it. I'm just going to write a piece of music that I would like.
That is interesting.
And so I wrote what eventually became the main theme of the game, and I put it under a trailer, which was prior to this one, because we needed an additional trailer to convince the publisher to continue to finance the game. And we sent it off. And the rest of the team and the art director, they were like, "Oh my God, this music! This is what we were looking for." And I was like, "What? Really? This is what I'm good at. This is what I like. This is," and I was trying to please you. And then the publisher, he was like, "Oh my God, the music," and everybody suddenly it was all about the music and everybody liking the music. And I was like, why didn't I do that from the start?
It's an important lesson because a lot of times if you try to please these things, like you write maybe without that soul. And the moment kind of you let it go and you're writing, I'm not sure that this is always working. And sometimes you get a brief and we need a trailer, we need to make it epic and we need to make it conventional. But yes, I think very beautiful thing exists if you really let go and you trust the people that work with it. So if you work with a composer or with a sound designer, you trust that opinion without kind of trying to control it. And in this case, it really worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And the fun thing was that I remember I came up with a new in-game piece, and at first I was like sending it to a couple of people, and I ended up always presenting my new music first to the art director. And at one point he reacted to me, it's like, he wasn't displeased, but he's like, "Well, now I have to up my game." Which was great. The best compliment he could ever give me.
I like that. I like that there's a little of a challenge. There is one huge challenge that I want to have a little take on is this is procedurally generated.
Yes.
So when you write for movies or like cinematics, it's stuck to image. So it means it's always kind of being the same. It's going to be played over that image. But when you do a procedural, it's kind of random, or how you can't really, it's kind of remix what you're creating. Yeah. So how did you do this?
Well, we had a couple of tricks for that, but the most important one is a sort of adaptive system that we came up with ourselves. I'm not saying we're the only ones doing it that way, but we created it ourselves. And it's very simple. You have this sort of basic piece of music that can completely stand on its own.
Yeah.
But when something happens, like the player gets attacked, he's in danger, or she, and the music then adds another layer.
Yeah.
So it's not just like adding percussion. No, it's a musical layer. So, for instance, very simple for people making music, they will understand this. You have, like a C and a G playing nicely along. And when it's going bad, you're about to die, you you add an E minor.
Yeah.
So it becomes a minor C chord. However, when you're doing great, you add...
It changes.
You add an E. And so the music adapts to what the player is doing, and it's still like a musical piece with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it's not like random pieces being stuck together.
But it adapts to your play style. So when you're playing well and everything is going well, then you want to convey that emotion and kind of want to reward it as this resolution for the player. And if it's not going too well, it kind of takes all these other notes going into that other direction. So in a way, you are remixing the original soundtrack constantly.
Yes. And the system works pretty well, but there's always, there's so much more that I want to do with it. But since the world is completely procedural, when I wanted to test something, I had to create a world and then hope that some of the bits that I wanted to test were actually in the game.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to it. It was really hard to test everything. So we had to simplify a lot of it. And
Makes
then
sense.
I discovered something else, which is happy accidents. People they accept that the music they hear
Yeah.
is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Even if it's not really thought through till the end.
You never know what wasn't supposed to be or was supposed to be. You know,
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing with art. Like if you see something, like even some mistake, if you're not know that it was a mistake, then sometimes it become a happy accident, like Bob Ross is saying, right?
Yeah.
A happy accident in your painting.
Yeah.
Now this is great. Definitely check it out because this is available. You can play it. So definitely
do buy it on PC because we're still looking for a new publisher on consoles.
Yeah.
So it may take a while for the console release to be updated, but the PC release is being updated really, really regularly.
Yeah, and definitely, like if you support something like this, you make it happen for so many dreamers to make these beautiful stories come to life. So you can't imagine how much like a positive review or even supporting a game like that means to further creation of these beautiful stories. So I'm happy that I could shine some light a little bit on.
Well, thank you.
This is awesome. So Matthijs, thanks for giving a little bit of like a behind the scenes of what's happening on Unexplored 2. Very curious for the people that already played this game, or maybe if this is your style or kind of what you think it's similar to. Let us know in the comments. If you have any other suggestions on composers or maybe the things that you want us to react on, please let us know in the comments. For now, I want to thank you for watching and see you next time. Hey there, I appreciate you watching the video. If you like this one, check out this video or that video. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to click on top of my head on the logo and subscribe to the channel.